Baylor has gotten a new transfer point guard, Jayden Nunn. He started in 60-plus games for VCU, scored 9 points per game last season, was one of the best NBA prospects in the entire Atlantic 10. Everybody knows the Atlantic 10. They're not on the CW. And now he plays for the Baylor Bears. This might do it, Robbie. I now have Baylor in my ESPN FPI top 5 for next year's college basketball season. My football power index. They are top 5.
I was gonna say that. Congrats to Baylor. Here's the thing. I made a take. I don't know. As soon as they lost after what I thought was just a really lame end to the year for Baylor.
Yes.
They were a team. You get Jonathan Chalmachachua back. You have Keontae George. You have these other amazing guards, Adam Flagler. You have LJ Cryer. And then they just lose in the Big 12 tournament and then lose to Creighton. And it was just okay, season's done. And I thought it was just a really lame way to go. And then you also lose, in my mind, a really good amount of talent. You lose Adam Flagler. You lose LJ Cryer, who we actually had on. We had Scott Drew on Big 12 Today an hour after we had him. I couldn't have heard a man more dejected in my entire life because obviously he put so much into LJ and loved him and gave him this role. And obviously LJ had to be patient for his time to be in the starting lineup this year. So I understand there wasn't there was friction during their entire relationship, but that sucks. And then you lose Adam Flagler to the NBA draft. That's not a transfer thing. That's just okay, you're getting old, go to the NBA.
Yeah.
And they lose Dale Bonner, who at the end of the year I thought was this really awesome chess piece that he had to go play defense. Although offensively, I thought he was just really meh. What's left of that roster? Okay, you have Jalen Bridges. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know if he's confirmed that he's coming back. You have Jonathan Chachua. How many years of eligibility does he have left? I don't know what. Okay. You have Caleb Lohner. He's a basketball player. I don't know what to make of that roster, and that's where, as a Baylor basketball fan, I don't know how you could think this team that Scott Drew may get people in the portal like he did today, but how can you be better than the team this year that had some of the best talent you've had in years besides your national championship run? That's where, my thing is, they're probably not going to be the second or third best team in the Big 12.
I am not pressing the red panic button. I don't think you are pressing the red panic button on Scott Drew,
as has been. They're still one of the best programs in college basketball.
As has been placed, Baylor's still a tournament team, right? They're still probably a 5 seed, 6 seed or better in next year's March Madness. That's great. But I do want a little truth serum here for everybody out there. This doesn't look great yet. I'm there. When you look at the roster going into next season, you cannot objectively say, oh, yeah, this roster is as good or better than what Baylor had last year. Could it end up being a really good team? Look at Jerome Tang in Kansas State. You pick the portal apart, you find the right concoction of guys, you build a culture, and Baylor's already got an established culture. They could be. I don't think, Robbie, you're saying that Baylor is going to be a bad basketball team next year, period. They could end up being a 12-win team in the Big 12. The roster and what I see on paper right now just doesn't have that yet. There are question marks around Miro Little, who's supposed to be really good, and D'Antoine Grimes and Jacoby Walter. There are good players who are coming to play for Baylor. But I don't think, I'm with you, in losing LJ Cryer, Adam Flagler, and Dale Bonner, that Jayden Nunn now becomes the catalyst to a Final Four caliber team. I do believe you would be pretty silly to say that right now.
Yeah, and speaking on 5-star talent, that is awesome that Baylor is getting these type of high school recruits. But also we are seeing that 5-star recruits, unless they are truly lottery picks or just unbelievable players, are going to make an immediate impact in college basketball because the sport has never been older. One, because the COVID eligibility, still don't know it, but players are older. And now that you can now go grab a transfer player that played at, let's say, High Point or some random university and bring them in for their senior year, as they are a proven basketball player who's played I don't know how many minutes of basketball, yeah, the 18-year-old college basketball player who may not be a lottery pick is not going to do that well. That's why the story of Keontae George and Grady Dick was incredible this year, because they are incredible basketball players. And here's the thing to every fan, this is my biggest gripe with the transfer portal, is the fans with it. Because every fan says, you know what, we're just going to go in the portal and we're going to patch everything up and we're going to be good and we're going to rehaul our entire roster. Do you want to know who else is doing that? Everybody.
Yeah.
Every team in the Big 12 is currently doing that. Kansas is doing that. You have Kansas State. They're going to be doing the same thing. Every team in college basketball who is like cares about basketball is rehauling their roster through the transfer portal. So just thinking, oh, we're going to get our guy in the portal. Yes, Baylor is a really good program and Scott Drew can do that. But everybody else is also pulling at him, and also people are dangling bags of cash saying, yeah, you could go play for Baylor, but we also have this much of money. Do you want to turn down this much amount of money? That's where, like, every fan who does that, I always get pissed off about it, and you can clearly hear it. It's like you cannot fix everything in the portal. You should want to keep LJ Cryer. You should want to keep Dale Bonner. Maybe those guys leaving kind of sucks.
Law of averages. Someone has to be below average. Someone has to be average. Someone has to be above it. Not everyone can win the transfer portal. So it's good that Baylor fans have confidence in Scott Drew, unlike you, apparently.
That's the thing. Scott Drew is one of the best coaches in America. He's also lost a lot
of
his
you.
I love Scott Drew. That's the thing. I don't know how I become this Baylor hater. I think Baylor was the school I first loved the most when I covered the Big 12. But you look at Scott Drew, like, he has lost all of his amazing assistants. That's a testament of how good of a head coach and how good of a leader he is, that those people are moving on. Do you know what else he's lost? A lot of great assistants. Like, assistants are the life, like, those are so important to your team. And not only are they leaving his program, they're going in the Big 12 to then face him, and they know all of his tricks and trades. It's like, I just feel bad for Scott Drew. He doesn't deserve this.
They're 2-0 against him as of last season. So, Robbie, you have 1 minute to address Scotty B, the BU King.
I don't get mad at fans for being, passionate and come after me. But fans have this drug in them that they crave. It's called hopium. It's something that I've heard, but I'm coining it. Like, everyone wants to have the most amount of hope possible, and if anyone gets in the way of, like, taking their bit of hopium, they just freak out and they're like, "You're wrong. You are the problem." And then, like, it ends up happening, and then no one ever gets mad at the person who, tried to stop them from doing drugs, hopium. And that's where to Scotty B. I don't know how you just can't see my part. You are, as of right now, a worse basketball team, and the only thing saying you won't be is hope. So, the floor is yours, Scotty B. Come to my Twitter, follow, mentions, whatever, once again.
Law of averages, Robbie. Somebody's got to be wrong, and it could be you. It could be you, man. Not everybody can be right. But I actually agree with you. So we'd be wrong together. You and I will die, and I'll die holding you.
Mama.
Thanks. That's it. All right. We'll call it there. I'm Drake Toll from Sports Illustrated's Inside the Bears. That's Robbie Triano, Sirius XM Big 12 Radio. If your name is Don Watson, you know that guy. Thank you for making Locked On Baylor your first listen every single day. Go follow Robbie on Twitter. He said he wasn't going to be on it, but he lied. This has been and always will be Locked On Baylor.
Bye.